decided to celebrate Day of the Dead. I asked Benny, I said, you know, that's very fast, that dance macabre. And if you need to slow it down, you can slow it down. He said, oh, I played this in the Florida Symphony. So we're so lucky to have his talent here with us. So uh, to give us our opening prayer is Reverend Matthew Brett.
Good morning. So I just invite you to close your outer eyes. Let's just take a collective deep breath together. And as we let the breath go, let's just become settled. Let's arrive here this morning right now. And I know that we are in the midst of the divine intelligence, the divine presence, that which is life itself, always unfolding, always expressing, around, through, and as each of us, as everybody on this planet. And I know that today here at CSL is touched with that divine essence, that divine presence. I know that our celebration today is one of richness, is one of beauty. It is one that touches each of our hearts. It is one where we get to remember those who have passed and hold them deep in our consciousness and our hearts. And I just know that each of us leave here today with that wonder and that beautiful memory and those rich experiences that we receive here today. So I know that this service, and I know that everything about this day here is already done in perfection, beauty, and order. I know that each of us are touched, and I release these words with deep confidence and deep gratitude, knowing that they are already so, and so it is.
So at this time, we're going to do Bob Dylan's Knocking on Heaven's Door.
It's a song about good folks and bad folks, and
I'm just doing a little backup vocals.
we all have to leave sometime. Mama, take this badge off of me. I can't use it anymore. It's getting dark, too dark to see. I feel I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, 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 knocking on heaven's door. Mama put my guns in the ground. I can't shoot them anymore. The long black cloud is pulling down. I feel I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door.
So it's time for community news, and I wanted to invite Matthew to talk about his meditation practice class, and then Sharon to talk about our pledge program, Living with Thanksgiving. Come on up.
Let you know that on Wednesday evening, starting this coming Wednesday, the 4th, between 6:30 and 7:30, we're going to be doing an hour-long meditation practice for the next 6 weeks. It's $50 for the 6 weeks, and you just get to spend an hour. And we're going to be using parts of the new Deepak Chopra book, Total Meditation. So we'll be going over several different types of meditation. And it's just really a way to kind of be uplifted during the middle of the week, to get kind of a spiritual reset. And so I'd like to invite you to sign up for that. You can go online and sign up for it. Today would be great, or the next couple of days, so I know how many people are going to be there. Of course, it will be on Zoom, and I'll be sending out all of the link information for you. So I look forward to seeing many of you there. Thank you.
Thanks, Matthew. Come on up, Sharon.
Good morning. So how many of you recognize getting a little pamphlet in the mail saying your Thanksgiving? Yes, it's a wonderful tool that Francis has given us for this time of year. It's really appropriate, thanks and giving. What a better month to have that theme. And the journal that she has given us to write down 10 things we're thankful for is awesome. And thank you, Francis.
Yeah.
And so a thankful heart is really a great antidote to many challenges in our life. We're all living in a very different flow of our lives right now, but science has proven that one of the best ways to thrive during any challenge, being it depression, fear, uncertainty that we face, by focusing on what we're grateful for, changes us on the inside. Thankfulness is the quickest path to joy. It's been proven that when we shift our focus to gratitude, actually the chemistry in our brain even shifts. We also know here at CSL, the more that we focus on something, it becomes even more prevalent in our lives. I know in using the gratitude journal that Francis has made has helped me look for something new each day to be grateful for instead of just repeating over and over the same old things. So this ritual has increased my awareness and my focus. And I wanted to share a couple quotes about gratitude. The first one by Charlotte Bonnet. Gratitude is a divine emotion. It fills the heart. The next one by Amy Collette. Gratitude is a powerful catalyst for happiness. It's the spark that lights a fire of joy in your soul. And the last one from Willie Nelson. When I started counting my blessings, my whole world turned around. Terry, I can almost hear that song. And there's a new focus for you. Terry has written some great songs for us. The latest one we close our service with, and I just love that song, Terry. Thank you. I'm very grateful for you and your songs. I'm very grateful for being a part of our beloved CSL community. I'm grateful for Frances and her thought-provoking messages and encouraging words for us each week. I'm so thankful for the music that touches our souls. Thank you to Terry, Benny, Christina, and Stephen Plummer, Jim Valley, Dane Norman, and others that come and minister to us in music. Now, November has been the month that the Board of Trustees makes a budget for the next year. And we will use the pledge information that you share with us. That information will be used to create our budget for 2021. This determines how we will fund and expand our services at CSL, as well as outreach programs within our community. We are committed to spirit guiding our CSL community to thrive and expand, to reach more people with transformational thoughts and a community that works for all of us. We seek to become the spiritual home to more people who yearn to be a part of a soul community where we all receive and give back. In previous years, our tithes have been made up 70% of our CSL budget. The other 30% came from the tuition for classes, where we learn and also support our church. And also the renting of our beautiful building to film club, meditation, art groups. However, for the past 8 months, that's been zilcho. So we have a greater need to increase our tithes to fill this gap in this space. This year, as you let Spirit guide you in your commitment of supporting our beloved community of CSL with your tithe, please place your card with your intentional and grateful giving in the offering plate by November 15th. We are very grateful for each one of you and for being a vital part of our beloved CSL Tacoma community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharon. If you didn't get a Thanksgiving booklet, and there's a pledge card inside, there are envelopes outside. And if you want to fill out your card today, there are also extra cards. So, and our website is csltacoma.org for registering for classes. Okay, so now we get to hear Heirloom, a beautiful song that comes from Amy Grant that Christina shared with us.
The first time I sang this song was actually 30 years ago. I sang it for my grandmother's passing, and so I remember her today. Up in the attic, down on my knees, lifetimes of boxes lay before me, letters and photographs yellowed with years, some bringing laughter, some bringing tears. Time never changes the memories, the faces of loved ones who bring to me all that I come from, and all that I live for, and all that I'm going to be. My precious family is more than an heirloom to me. You who've gone before me, lead me each day. I see you, I feel you leading my way. Stories and memories passed down through years. Carry your memory living right here. Time never changes the memory, the moment your love first pierced through me. Telling all that I've come from, and all that I live for, and all that I'm going to be. Oh, my precious family is more than an heirloom to me. Yes, and my precious family is more than an heirloom to me.
So at this time, we'll have a meditation called Remembering Our Ancestors. And we hope it kind of sparks who you want to remember on these little pieces of paper that we're going to put in the remembrance bowl a little later.
So I'm inviting you to just put everything aside and once again close your eyes. Let's just focus on our breath for a minute. Breathing in and letting it go. Noticing that rhythmic pattern of our breath. It's that same pattern that moves through all of life, continually unfolding, continuing to express. It's the very same breath that moves through the entire universe, the very same pattern that infuses all of life. And I invite you to know that that same breath, that same energy, that same rhythmic pattern is the same pattern that moved through your ancestors. It's a pattern that never ends, it continues, onward and upward. So in this time this morning, I invite you to just settle in and allow your mind and your heart to become open. Allow yourself to stand in this open space and open your arms. And in this space of openness, allow whoever wants to come into your consciousness to be there. Whoever has passed, a loved one, a friend, a great leader, whoever shows up for you right now, just allow them to become present. Allow the warmth of their soul to touch yours. Allow that beautiful rhythmic vibration of their breath to fall into synchronicity with your breath. Just bring that beautiful, rich, multi-layered memory and experience into your heart. And as you invite them, just begin to remember how they touched your life. How did they inspire you? How did they touch your heart? Notice and remember what it looked like to look into their eyes, the window to their soul. Notice the very beautiful way that they moved in the world, in this human form when they were here. Remember the smile on their face. Remember the times when you noticed that they were sad or going through difficulty. And most of all, just notice if there's anything that they would like to say to you. And now I invite you to just be in deep gratitude. Just thank them for touching your life, for their beautiful and rich presence that they brought to your life and to everybody else's life that they touched, their mission and their purpose on this planet. Just thank them. And what I'm knowing for you, whether it's one person or several, is that they hear and they experience the energetic field of your thank you. The vibration of your gratitude moves out into the universe, and wherever they might be, it meets them. Know that as you hold them in high regard, that energy comes back to you as pure love, support, and just take the gift that they were in your life into your heart now, and allow yourself to be in joy. In joy because you had the experience of knowing this person. You have the experience of whatever gifts they may have brought to your life and whatever gifts you may have shared with them, because we're always sharing gifts with each other. And let's now bring this experience back to the rhythm of the breath. Noticing that beautiful synchronicity of our breath falls into perfect balance and order with the synchronicity of everything around us. So I'm knowing for you today that this experience that we're about to have is rich, it's multi-layered, it's beautiful. It speaks to your heart and it speaks to your mind as well as your soul, and allows you to be in love and gratitude. So let's come back to the room and open our eyes and look around the room and become completely present and be ready to experience what lies before us. Be well.
So at this time, we're going to do a little Dia de Muertos ritual that will be followed by La Llorona. And I wanted to talk a little bit about how I got involved with Dia de Muertos. I was in Texas, and Dia de Muertos is a very popular holiday in Texas because of the Hispanic community. And when I moved up here, I became acquainted with Julio Juan, who was head of the Centro Latino. And we were talking, this was in 2003, I believe. We were talking about how fun it would be because of the growing Hispanic community in Tacoma to have a Dia de Muertos celebration. And so we put together a committee. It was me, Claire Petrich, Julio, and another person on his staff. And we organized the first Day of the Dead parade and celebration here in Tacoma on 6th Avenue. And it was absolutely wonderful. We had art activities 6 weeks before the parade, and people made masks and paraphernalia. And then we had a party afterwards, and it was a great celebration, and it was so well thought of that the Tacoma Art Museum decided they wanted to do it. So they hired the woman that was on our committee and put her in the museum staff, and they organized the next year's celebration. We also did it on 6th Avenue and did a collaborative thing together. But I just went on the website, and you can go to their celebration. It's virtual this year. Go to the Tacoma Art Museum, and you can see all the ofrendas like this one, the altars, that they usually have at least 25 altars as part of their exhibit. And they're in their 17th year. So I thought, wow, I had something to do with seeding that wonderful activity that has lasted so long. So be sure and check that out. So I want to address the topic of misappropriation, which is a term to denote improper borrowing of traditions, music, and art from other cultures. And But we are doing this borrowing of this creation with respect, even if we lack permission from the Mayan tribes of whom we're borrowing. I hope that we can see that this ritual and other parts of Day of the Dead are gifts to us that we share today with the utmost honor and respect. So we have our celebration of the dead. The roots of this ceremony are over 3,000 years old, from pre-Columbian Mesoamerica, and the Aztecs and Mayas living in what now is central Mexico really held this cyclical view of the universe and saw death as an integral part of life. And so we use this opportunity to remember someone that we'd like to remember. Perhaps you got their names in that beautiful meditation that Matthew did. So we have these little slips of paper. There's some at the altar, but if you'd write the name of who you want to remember, and it can be more than one. And we're going to do this it's most powerful when done in silence. So we're going to just be still while we each drop our remembrance in the memory bowl. And you can come up at any time you like. Be sure and socially distance and drop that in the bowl. And when everyone's complete, we'll hear we'll hear the beautiful song La Llorona.
So this song is called La Llorona, which means the weeping woman. It is a folk tale from Mexico, and this is what the words mean. Alas, Llorona, dressed in light blue. Even if it costs my life, I won't stop loving you. I climbed the highest pine tree to see if I could spot you. But the pine tree was tender, Llorona. When it saw me cry, it cried. Alas, Llorona, dressed in light blue. Even if it costs my life, I won't stop loving you. Ay, de mi Llorona, Llorona de azul celeste. Ay, de mi Llorona, Llorona de azul celeste. Y aunque la vida me cuesta, Llorona, no dejaré de quererte. No dejaré de quererte. Me subí al pino más alto, Llorona, a ver si te divisaba. Me subí al pino más alto, Llorona, a ver si te divisaba. Como el pino era tierno, Llorona, al verme llorar, lloraba. Como pino era tierno, Llorona, al verme llorar, lloraba.
Llorona, llorona, llorona de azul celeste. Ay de mí, llorona, llorona, llorona de azul celeste. Y aunque la vida me cuesta, llorona, no dejaré de quererte. Y aunque la vida me cuesta, llorona, no dejaré de quererte. No dejaré de quererte. No dejaré de quererte. Ay, ay, ay,
Wow, that's wonderful. Ah, so my message today is plenty of thin veils and immortality. And of course, the Mayans believe at this time of year, the veil is thin between the living and those who've passed. So we're preparing for the Thanksgiving holiday as Sharon indicated by doing the 40 days of gratitude. And if you didn't get a booklet, be sure and pick one up before you leave so you can practice daily bouts of gratitude, maybe at your kitchen table. So Ernest Holmes wrote that in the midst of plenty, humanity lives in want. And many people do go through life holding a tin cup under the Niagara of God's plenty. So it's a small fry expectancy that usually manifests as string saving, make do, can't afford it level of consciousness. It's marginal at best, and it's what we might be call in tune with the indefinite. And I don't know about you, but I'd much prefer to be in tune with the infinite source of supply, the infinite flow of abundant good, the infinite substance back of all things, and the horn of plenty that is ever available. So we do draw our experience out of the infinite. Yesterday, I received an email message from one of our practitioners, Yoshi Wong, who said she was out bicycling day before yesterday and she passed by a church and its sign was live St. Reem 11 o'clock service. And she thought, well, I've never heard of St. Reem. I will have to call Reverend Francis and find out who that is. And then on the way back home, she saw the other side of the sign and it said live stream 11 a.m. service, question answered. And I was looking forward to telling her all about St. Reem. Well, anyway, so in Mexico, of course, this is a great time of celebration if you were to travel to Mexico, although it's been cut back quite a bit because of COVID. Um, the celebrations, they're still doing the altars and private parties at home. But in this tradition, ancestors are made to feel welcome. There's no horror or fear of death like you have at Halloween. Um, People in Hispanic cultures, and especially in Mexico, are comfortable with the idea that death will visit us one day. And yet there's no words that take away the pain of losing a loved one. Offering words of caring or empathy is all we can do. And because our society, our Western society, doesn't know how to talk about death, fear of death has sort of become the norm. Woody Allen put it this way. He said, I'm not afraid of death. I just don't want to be there when it happens. But it's not an unusual experience for the living to hear or see the deceased, either in etheric form or in some sort of dream state. A woman whose dissertation I read before I did this sermon was called Lady Blood, and she was of Guatemalan descent. And she began to study her Mayan ancestors from Guatemala and began to connect with them in dreams. And it was very healing to her to make those connections because her father had always wanted to move home to Guatemala. Almost a year after my own father passed, he came to me as I was waking from a dream state and said, "Ah, there you are." It was as if he'd been lost in New Mexico, where he'd passed and had finally found me in Washington State. My mother came to me in a dream in which she was in Colorado Springs, high in the mountains in a snowstorm. And she had ridden the bus and boldly, the bus had to stop because the snow was so thick. And so she boldly lit the fire that had diminished in the bus station. And I was impressed with this dream because as a child, we had gone to Seven Falls in Colorado Springs, where we had to ascend 6 stories of staircases on the mountainside. And my mother got overcome with altitude sickness and paralyzed in fear about 3 stories up. And she finally gathered the courage to descend. But it was so unlike her. She had taken a teacher's exam when she was 13 years old in Missouri and began teaching high school English. So she always had a lot of guts and courage. But I thought, well, maybe we get to work on our fears in life after death. There was my mother back in Colorado Springs in the high mountains, lighting a fire so she could be comfortable in the high altitude. Carl Sandburg wrote a poem about grieving. He said, "Gather the stars if you wish it so. Gather the songs and keep them. Gather the faces of women. Gather for keeping years and years. And then loosen your hands. Let go. Say goodbye. Let the stars and the songs go. Let the faces and the years go. Loosen your hands and say goodbye." Elizabeth Kubler-Ross wrote about the stages of grieving, and they were denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and finally acceptance. And while these are steps, they aren't necessarily sequential because all of us relate to loss in our own way, and some more deeply than others. But as we think about our ancestors that have passed, we have to confront our own mortality. Earlier in the week, while Cindy was here decorating the altar, she brought her new puppy, Sela, who's part Shih Tzu and Maltese. Absolutely adorable. I was enthralled by the little puppy, and I got to pet it and hold it. And she brought the photo of her 2 previous Shih Tzu Maltese dogs, Quizzy and Luna. Luna just passed. And so they had often visited the church because Cindy did a lot of decorating when she lived directly across the street. And so there are pictures of those dogs on the altar, as well as another favorite CSL dog named Bandit, owned by Steve Harmon and Liz Patterson. So it made me think of the poem by Kate Barnes called "Talking to the Dog." When I used to get up in the morning and make some funny noises, jargon, bits of songs, nonsense, I really wasn't talking to myself. No, I was talking to the dog. But now the dog is dead. No more unkempt wolfhound lying asleep on her back with her legs against the wall. I must say goodbye to her prehistoric howling. Goodbye to the look of those yellow owl eyes. I drop her unfinished dinner onto the compost pile. I wash her bowls and put them away. I pull the rug over the place where her bed was, and still I think I hear her just stirring in the next room. It's almost midsummer and the blackberries are flowering in festoons behind the pasture. I will bury her ashes under the crooked pear tree, with the fruit already growing among the green leaves. I know that for a long time I will go on hearing her at the door, and for a long time I'll be seeing her out of the corner of my eye. When the wind tracks light through the bending grass, for a long time, I will be talking to the dog. What happens to us after we die? This is certainly one of life's most persistent questions. And I think it's important for us to acknowledge that this is a mystery, that there are many possible answers. In Science of Mind, we believe in the immortality and eternality of the individual soul living on forever and ever. But we also live on through the legacy of our actions, the things we did while we were alive in this world. How will we be remembered? What did we leave behind? Who did we love? Rumi, in a translation of his poem by Jonathan Starr, writes, "The secrets of eternity are beyond us, and those puzzling words we cannot understand. Our words and our actions take place on this side of the veil. O soul, when the veil is gone, we are gone." So it's All Saints' Day, Day of the Dead, a time of year when the veil is thin. And we're invited to puzzle over the secrets of eternity. We create our own understanding of this eternity because we enter and exit the world through the same gate. No matter how different each of us lives in the world, the exit is the same for all of us. Our ancestors who've preceded us can be our guides to what lies ahead. And in their continued presence and through our memories of them, we can be joyful. We are not alone because in some way they are with us now. Death vividly opens the way to compassion and clarity. And I think that much of the good that humans offer up to the world has its origin in the final harvesting we recognize today. All our ancestors and all our memories of love. And we are reminded that we're all bound together in this place we call Earth. So just to close, I want you to hold your hands up in the air and just imagine that your hands are linking together to everyone in this room. Hand by hand, imaginally, we touch those who are here with us and those who are no longer with us. And hand over hand, we touch all humankind, which reminds us that our loved ones are no longer with us, but they're in us. They touched us. They're in our DNA. They're in our memories. They're in our stories. They're in the way we move in the world. And so let us go out in the world and carry our loved ones in our hearts. God bless you. And so it is. Thank you. So we have a wonderful song by Mark Anthony. He's the heartthrob of Mexico, beautiful singer, called Vivir mi vida.
So here's what this song means. The chorus says, I'm going to laugh, I'm going to dance, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to dance, I'm going to enjoy, I'm going to live my life. Sometimes the rain comes to clean wounds. Sometimes just a drop can overcome the drought. And why cry? For what? If it hurts bad, forget it. And why do you suffer? For what? If life is like this, you must live it. I'm going to live in the moment to understand my destiny. I'm going to listen in the silence in order to find my path. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to dance. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to live my life.
Voy a reír, voy a bailar, vivir mi vida, la 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 la. Voy a reír, voy a gozar, vivir mi vida, la 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 la. A veces llega la lluvia para limpiar las heridas. A veces solo gota pueda vencer la sequía. ¿Y para qué llorar? ¿Para qué? Si duele una pena se olvida. ¿Y para qué sufrir? ¿Para qué? Si esa es la vida, hay que vivirla. Voy a reír, voy a bailar, vivir mi vida, la 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 la. Voy a reír, voy a gozar, vivir mi vida, la 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 la. Voy a beber un momento para entender destino. Voy a escuchar el silencio para encontrar el camino. ¿Y para qué llorar? ¿Para qué? Si duele una pena se olvida. ¿Y para qué sufrir? ¿Para qué? Si duele una pena se olvida, la 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 la. Voy a reír, voy a bailar, vivir mi vida, la 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 la. Voy a reír, voy a gozar, vivir mi vida, la 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 la. Voy a reír, voy a bailar, vivir mi vida, la 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 la. Voy a reír, voy a gozar, vivir mi vida, la 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 la.
Beautiful. So at this time, it's time for our offertory. Would the usher please come forward? And we have a blessing that we like to say that's on the screen, I hope. But we all know it, don't we? Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And so it is. And so we have Bienvenido singing, playing I'll Fly Away on the clarinet. I felt like I was in New Orleans. That was great. Okay. So I'd like to ask Reverend Caroline to come up and do our closing healing prayer. And then we'll hear Terry's song, Let's Celebrate Our Love.
Close your eyes if you would like, or not, whatever you prefer. And let's just settle back and think about what Reverend Francis shared today, and then the song. And let's all fly away in our hearts and minds to a place of perfect healing, perfect health, perfect finances, perfect relationships. For that healing is taking place right here, right now, as we open our hearts and our minds and let go of our doubts, because we know that with God, everything is possible. And healing is definitely a part of our life, and we can have it right here, right now. So let us give thanks to God for this healing that is in our lives, and let go of the old stuff as we enjoy the beauties of the day and the opening of our hearts and our minds to a greater realization and acceptance of God's word for us. And so it is.
So it is. And so we say the prayer of protection, which is called response. I'll say the words, you repeat them. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so let's celebrate our love together as we stand.
Let's celebrate our love. Let's find what we're made of. Let's all together give something good. Let's shine and then shine on. Celebrate the sun. Celebrate the one in each other. shine. Let your spirit shine. Love, love, love is what we're thinking of. Strong, strong, strong. You know we all belong, we all belong. We all belong. We all belong, we all belong, we all belong, we all belong, we all belong. We all belong. One more time. We all belong. There it is.